Hey everybody, welcome back to DMing the World, and welcome back to the Solo Adventurer episodes for DarkSpace. DarkSpace is the sci-fi rule set that we created for Shadow Dark, and in the last episode, we set the stage for our story. We learned about Bard. We learned that he was a hacker, but he was a spy for a revolutionary group, and that he had been captured on a recon mission, and his group now disavows any knowledge of him and have left him for dead in a government prison of some sort. So we are going to now can start the story from there. Uh, uh, we're going to define some areas of the prison where he's at, and the objective is that he is going to try to escape and get back to some semblance of a normal life, for whatever that looks like for him. So let's get started. All right, so we've got our Owlbear Rodeo gameplay set up, and note that I took the details from last time and wrote them into sort of a narrative to kind of help set the stage. Added some additional context and some details. So this is where we start. The midday sun beat down on the skeletal structure of the interrogation station, hidden in a jagged scar on the planet's rust-colored plains. Bard, a spy without a home, moved with the practiced ease of a man who lived in the shadows, even when there were none to be found. He wasn't a criminal, though his methods often blurred the lines. Officially, he never had an employer, but now he was captured on the job, and the Argent Shard, the revolutionaries that he actually belonged to, burned him, leaving him for dead in a directorate prison. It had been a reconnaissance mission. They needed eyes on a transport wreck, specifically on a rogue soldier, rumored to be trafficking valuable and highly illegal pre-war contraband. It was more than just another payday for Bard, though the credits were essential. Each risky operation, each piece of intel gathered was a step, however small, towards a personal dream, a universe finally at peace. But peace was a distant concept now in this government prison. His current objective: survive. That's where we start. So we are going to go from there, and we're going to define some areas for this. This is going to be similar to how you would create areas using the Dragonbane solo play rules. I just kind of liked that concept, and we're going to use that for the Emergent play that we do with this series. We're going to define how many areas does the episode take place in. Are we what is it going to take for him to get from imprisonment to freedom? And then we'll fill in the gaps and details along the way. So for that, I'm going to pull up some of the Emergent play rules that we've been working on, and specifically, we're going to do our site generation. This is something that you will see in the expanded rules when those come out. So you're getting a little sneak peek there, but we are going to create this prison, or at least the parts of it that we need for our story. In some ways, this is like generating a dungeon. If you're using like the Shadow Dark dungeon creation rules, kind of the same idea, but we're not necessarily going to be, drawing this out on a map. We're just going to use this as sort of an outline. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to define what our location is. It is an interrogation. I wrote interrogation station, but as I was reading that, I'm thinking interrogation facility makes more sense. Interrogation facility that is where they would bring spies, defectors, anyone like that, and interrogate them. Since he was captured on the job, that'd be where they would bring him. We had already established that it was in a canyon on this planet. I didn't give the planet a name. Maybe we'll come up with that if we escape the prison. But we're going to use, this is going to be if we're looking at our table here, that first table, the site location, this is going to be a station for these purposes, at least the beginnings of it. Maybe once we get out of it, we'll be in the wilderness and we'll roll for some wilderness areas. So the next thing we need to do is roll for the site size. Now, if we were going to explore every area of this prison, it would probably be a large. We'd probably be rolling 10d4 for this. We're not going to do that. We're assuming that he's got some kind of plan, some kind of path already determined to get himself out of this prison. So we're going to keep it relatively small. Not tiny. We're talking, this is more than just a single building. This is going to be, areas he has to move through. So I think we're going to stick to small and see if that gives us enough. Just like when we were generating areas with like Dragonbane, if something comes up where there's a branching path, obviously we'll add additional components into that. But for now, we'll just kind of roll that and we'll see how many we get. So we're going to do, clear out my dice tray here. I'm going to roll 4d4. 9. All right, so 9 areas altogether involved in this escape. Now, typically what I like to do when I'm doing some type of emergent play with this is I like to define what the first area is, sort of the starting point, and then usually what the finish line is. If you were, if it was a dungeon crawl, traditional dungeon crawl, the starting point is, the entrance to the dungeon, and the finish line is like the boss, right? So kind of the same idea. We know that our area 1 is going to be our cell, right? Let's actually tell you what. Let's do these as a numbered list. Area 1. Prison cell. Freedom. For now, that's good enough. When we get there, we'll define what the details look like. So from here, we are going to roll for each area. We're going to roll a d4 to determine how many details we have about that area. Details are divided into environs, quirks, features, and dangers. Based on each of those categories, we'll roll on a table for the location type, and then that will give us the some details about this. So let's start with the prison cell. Let's roll a d4. It's got one detail. That makes sense. It's a prison cell. There's not going to be anything too complicated here, right? So we got the 1. Now, what kind of detail is it? It's a feature. All right. Maybe this is a feature that can be exploited to escape. Let's find out. So then we're going to go down here to our ship and station sites. And we're going to roll a d20 on the features column and see what we get. If it doesn't make sense, we can always roll again. You're not tied into it. It needs to make sense for your story. But we'll just see what we get. 13. Orbital generators. We know we're on a planet, and we know that we're not We know we're in a prison cell, so I don't think that that makes a whole lot of sense. Let's try again. A 14 domed lab. Could be a dome. Not hugely interested in that. Let's do one more. A 5. Cryogenic chamber. Is it a cryogenic prison? They just keep the prisoners on ice. That's interesting. Cryogenic chambers. Huh. Let's see what area 2 is, and then maybe we can tie the two together somehow. So same deal for area 2. I'm gonna roll a d4. There's 3 details about this one. So I'm gonna roll 3 d4s. That is a 2, a 1, and a 2. So 2 quirks and an environ. All right, so let's see what we get with those. So we're going to roll a d20 again for the environ first. That is a 9. A cargo hold. It could be, or a storage area. A larger room, storage room, central bay. Rattling noises and erratic gravity. I don't like that one. Temperature fluctuation. Okay. Rattling noises. Temperature fluctuations. That sounds like HVAC. That's fritzing. That's not working well. It might be an escape vector that he uses from the cryogenics into there. Maybe that's the temperature fluctuation. Maybe something happens and his cryogenic chamber fails, or at least enough for him to get out. And then he has to escape through the ductwork that keeps the chamber frozen. Okay, so I added a paragraph here that kind of sums up what we've just generated. Bard woke up in his cryogenic chamber, the pod where he was kept when not being interrogated. Something had happened. He was thawed unexpectedly. There was a rattling noise above him. He could see the central cryo storage bay through the chamber's window. He just needed to get the chamber to release him. So that sets up our challenge for this. He is in a cryopod that is malfunctioning or has been sabotaged. We don't know yet. We don't know why. But when he, if he can, he needs to somehow or another get the chamber to release him into this larger cryo storage bay, probably where all of the other prisoners are kept, like pods on a wall, multiple levels. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. So let's figure out how he's going to do this. I think that this is going to be a check, probably a hacking check. He is a hacker, so that makes sense. DC for this. All right, so let's look at Shadow Dark. There's your difficulty classes. Easy is a DC 9. Normal is a DC 12, hard is a DC 15, and extreme is a DC 18. This is a prison, right? It's not supposed to be easy, or even normal. We're probably talking about a hard here, to be honest. which is not going to be easy for our guy. It's going to be hard. But he is a hacker. This gives him a chance to use his background here. So with a background, you have advantage on any type of check that involves your background. He doesn't, by the way, have any of these at the moment. His gear. We'll have to figure out probably somewhere along the way how he picks these up. Maybe he finds a storage room or something. We'll figure that out. But at the moment, he has no gear on him. So none of his other abilities are going to help him. His sway ability with the motivation and beguile, that only affects other people. So at the moment, it's just him on his own. And he's going to have to hack his way out of this. That's an intelligence check. He doesn't have a bonus. He's not a great hacker. He's really a charmer. I mean, the spy backstory really fits better than hacker. But we rolled hacker. We're going to keep it that way. So he's we're just going to roll a straight D20 with advantage and hope we beat a 15. We can just going to roll this twice. We got an 11. Yeah, so nope. This is not working. He may have to think about a different way out of this. It's a good idea, but this might be beyond his capabilities. Now, I will note, because we are using Solo Dark as some of the basis for this, you do start with a luck token. So I think we're going to use the luck token. Go ahead and use our luck token and just get a reroll with this. It's a reroll with advantage. So we get to just try that again, see if we get a 15. If we don't, then we're going to have a complication. We're going to need to come up with something else. No, still a 13. Okay. So nope, can't hack his way out of this. So if he can't hack his way out of this, what else is he good at? He's good at being charming. So I think I'm gonna have to wait. And wait for somebody to come by. So let's see. Let's make that happen. Bard tried to hack the interior controls in the cryopod, but they were just too locked down. He was going to have to charm his way out of this. Now, he just needed someone to charm. So we've got some. I'm trying to think about like who could walk by, right? Who would be walking by the cryopods at some point? Guards, technicians, other prisoners. Maybe some type of specialist, like the interrogator or intelligence officer or something like that, right? Okay, so that gives us 4. So let's roll a d4 and see what we get. So 1 is guard, 2 is like technician, like that works on the pods. Maybe they get the signal, right, that his pod's on the fritz. 3 would be another prisoner, or 4 would be like an intelligence officer. Oh, okay. So an intelligence officer. All right. And that might be of all of those, that might be the one that's hardest to charm. But that's okay. We'll see what happens. Let's find some stats for this person. Okay, so we're going to just modify some stats for these purposes because we just need a basic stat block. I just kind of looked through what we had in our denizens, and I think the one that actually is just going to kind of fit the best here is going to be this Triadian apprentice. They don't have to have triad powers. We haven't established if triad powers even exist in this world yet. It might make sense for an interrogator to have that. Uh, um, I'm more just focusing on the stats here specifically. This is a level 2 character NPC. He's a level 1, so this is a bit of a challenge for him. And they have a +2 on their charisma. They have a +0 on their intelligence. As far as like being like a similar spy type character, I think that makes a bit of sense. I might, if I were writing up a spy, I might give them a +1 on wisdom instead, but we'll keep it like this for now. So let's just do this. Let's use this stat block. So let's set the stage. Eventually, he hears the sounds of boots, lightweight boots of an officer, not the heavy trooper boots, approaching on the metal grating outside. All right, so let's see what we can find out about who this officer, this intelligence officer is. So this is another new table that's going to be in the expanded book. This is just an NPC generator. So you can quickly roll up an NPC and you can see kind of that same structure again that we had on the job generator where you roll a die of each type and then you get something. So we get a gender, motivation, archetype, species trait, their personality, and their background. I mean, we don't necessarily have to roll all of these. I really just want to know, the main things I want to know here are gender and motivation, archetype, maybe a species trait. That could be interesting. Let's see if maybe they're not human. Their personality, and then their background. I think we know their background is probably going to be an operative. So we won't have to roll the d20. Let's roll everything else. D4, D6, a D10, or D8, a D10, and a D12. All right, so this is a male vial. Makes sense. They're the bad guys. Tough operative. So big guy. Maybe he's this kind of an interrogator. He's got extra no, he has technical knack. Okay. And he is a creator personality. So he's a bit of a bit inventive when it comes to his interrogation techniques. Okay, so this guy sounds like he's a little sadistic. Okay, so is this somebody that we're going to be able to charm? We'll find out. It was the hardened interrogator who Rhys had already had several sessions with. The guy was cruel, almost sadistic in the inventive ways he could get secrets out of someone. This wasn't going to be easy. All right. So we're assuming that he is coming, this guy is coming to retrieve him or retrieve someone, but we'll say that as he comes by, Rhys interacts with him. So at this point, we need to roll. I think we need to use our sway at this point. We need to beguile this guy and see if we can't transfix him, get him to listen to us and let us out. We can transfix targets whose total levels are equal up to your level plus charisma modifier. So that would be 3 for this. But it is a DC 15. So we've got still have to get a 13 on this roll to make this happen. Not going to be easy. But let's see what happens. Rolled a 5. All right. The guy takes no guff from him. So that means he's gonna get hauled off. We may be moving to a different area. All right. Hey, this thing's on the fritz. I'm suffocating in here. Let me out. Rhys tries to draw the interrogator's attention and mercy, but there's no mercy in this interrogator's eyes. Oh, you want out, eh? All right, let's go have another session. The craggy-faced interrogator grins. So, I think that's where we're going to leave it for this episode with Rhys attempting to take advantage of his situation and get out to no avail, and instead is now going to be dragged off for another round of interrogation. Not looking good for our hero so far, but maybe he's got a chance to turn things around once he gets out of this pod. So we'll leave it there, and we'll see what happens on the next Solo Adventurer. Take care.